Hi friends, how are you? Hope you're well and you've had a good week. Mine's been good. I got my second COVID vaccine, so I was really chuffed with that. Got that done on Monday, no side effects, so that was good. I got a few other things sorted out that I want to get sorted out this week, so it's been good. I have had a good reading week. I think I read about 3 books, but I can't remember what they are, and I'm too lazy at the moment to go and get my book to come back and tell you. But what I will do is I'll do a wrap up at the end of this one, so that's fine. What am I reading this weekend? I'm reading An Unexpected Amish Courtship by Rachel J. Good. This, I think, is the second book in a series. And we're back at this Amish, or this food market. We meet Sylvia, who has come to the town to help look after her Aunt Wilma because our Aunt Wilma is going in for a hip operation. Now, this was totally unexpected. She and her mum and 2 sisters lived in a house. I think her father had passed away, and her mother's brother, at least I presume it was her mother's brother, I think it was, just came in one day and said, "You're selling the house and you're all moving in with me." Now, the mother's brother was not a nice man. He was gruff, he was just really not nice, and the mum knew that Sylvia had already been bullied by his children. So she decides that it's not a good idea for her to move in here. So, knowing that her sister was about to go in for a hip operation, decided to send her to live with her auntie. Now, her auntie owns or runs the pickle stall at the market. But the auntie is very, how can I say, closed off. And she doesn't trust anybody. And so Sophia's having quite a hard time about it. But there's kind of one uplifting part of her day is seeing Isaac. Now, Isaac has a stutter and he's very self-conscious about it. And he knows he likes her and he really wants to talk to her, but he just can't. He also is a therapy dog. And most people in the market will be, very understanding of Isaac and, not push him to speak. But her aunt isn't like that. Her aunt is very in his face, etc., etc. And it's basically, she's very down on everybody. But one of the other people that's in the market or has something to do with the market suggests to Isaac that he goes and looks up this person in the library, and he does, and he discovers that this beautiful orator from the Greek times also had a stutter, but there was handy hints and tips as to how he overcame them. So Isaac is starting to use those to try and sort of be able to talk to Sylvia more. We don't know why the aunt is no longer Amish, but there's obviously something's happened between her and her brother, and hopefully as the story unfolds we will find out more about that. But yes, so I'm really enjoying that book. The second book I'm reading this weekend is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. I'm doing this as a buddy read with Krista over at Books and Jams. I will leave her channel link down below. I am on chapter 26 at the moment and I'm romping through this. I mean, I've got that to read. I think the way I'm going with this, that I am going to hopefully finish it within the next couple of days. In this story we meet Mia. Now, Mia is one of 6 sisters, but there should be 7. Now, I shall let you see the beginning. So as you can see, one of them is missing. Okay? We meet Mia and we also meet her other sisters because, unfortunately, their billionaire father or stepfather has died. Okay, now there is some sort of question marks around his death or things to do with that. I'm not going to say give it away. But anyway, he dies and he's been very specific about what happens. And he has put in one of the parts of the garden, he's put in this, it's almost like a compass, but it has rings round it. So an arm, I honestly cannot remember what it was called. And on each ring is the sister's name, and then there's a set of numbers, and then there's a quote in, I think it's Greek. So there's obviously something that these coordinates, etc., are to do with. And then each sister has been given a letter. and supposedly this letter will help them. They've all been... Their main home base is Geneva in a house called Atlantis, and Mia lives in another house called the Pavilion, but the sisters have kind of scattered to the four corners of the earth. Mia's the only one that stayed close to home, and she is the oldest. So she sort of looks after the others in some ways, and is always there for them to help, so that's part of the story. But Mia's coordinates end up taking her to Rio de Janeiro. Now, she runs away very quickly from Geneva when she finds out that somebody from her past called Zed is coming to Geneva. So she runs away very quickly, so we don't know what that story's about. So she runs to Rio, and she is a translator of languages. So she works for a publisher. She's been working for a publisher, and she gets in, or through them gets in touch with an author in Rio that she has translated for. They meet and they get to know each other, start chatting. She explains why she's here, and she knows she has to go to this house. But the first time she goes, the person that owns it is very brusque and just basically go away. Second time she goes with Feliciano or Floriano, something along those natures, and he managed to get them inside, and he speaks to the old lady that's there. But again, she's like, nobody's getting my money, nobody's getting this house, blah blah blah. And he points to a picture, to a portrait, and says something, and basically they get chucked out. But as they're leaving, the maid who has been looking after this lady for I don't know how long hands Mia a bundle of letters, and she said, "This may help." So that we stop at Rio de Janeiro at that point, but then we go to sort of the story of the letters, as it were, and what happens to Belle, who I think is Mia's mother. And this takes place 80 years earlier. So we're now getting Belle, who is a young girl in Rio who is feeling hemmed in by all the constraints that her father is putting on her, etc. And it is really, really good. I am thoroughly enjoying it, and as I say, I am just romping through it. So that's what I've been reading this weekend. What else have I been doing? Not a lot, really. As I say, I didn't post this on Friday because I wasn't in the mood. And then yesterday, I was doing other things, so I knew you wouldn't mind if I put it up today. This is actually my second go at doing it, because when I'd edited it and was uploading it and suddenly realised, no, I got the name of a book wrong. It's like, but never mind, it's sorted now. What else have I been doing? Watched a wee bit of rugby yesterday, but then watched some football. And I was watching the Denmark-Finland game when Christian Eriksen collapsed. I have to say, that was just not nice to watch. It was horrible. It wasn't. Yes, it was horrible. The medical staff did such a fantastic job, but to actually see somebody, a sports person, having CPR on the pitch, having a defibrillator used on them. Thankfully, from when I went to bed last night, he was in hospital. He was doing okay. He was conscious, etc. So thank goodness for that, and I hope that he is making a good recovery and that they discover what happened. But it was shocking to see. It was, as a sports therapist and somebody that's dealt with lots of injuries. Thankfully, I've never had to deal with that. My hat goes off to the medical staff. My hat goes off to both the Finnish and the Danish players and the fans. They were so good. How they actually came back out and played that game an hour and a half later, I have no idea. I think they deserve a major round of applause for that. But yes, it was not pleasant viewing. My thoughts and prayers are with Christian Eriksen and his family, and I hope that he continues to make a full recovery. So yeah, so that was kind of an upsetting part of the day, but you know, that was that. Today, the sun is out. I may get to go out and sit outside, I don't know, but I do have a chat today with Rebecca, the Colourful Book Nester. We kind of chit chat once a month. So that'll be really, really nice to do. And I think we might be choosing our next buddy read, which would be really fun to do. But that's it. That's been kind of my weekend. But yeah, I hope whatever you've done this weekend has been good. Please let me know down below what you've been doing. Please let me know what you've been reading. Have you read either of the books that I have mentioned today? If so, please let me know what you thought of them. It'd be really nice to chit chat. But whatever you do for the rest of the weekend and also into next week, I hope you have a good time and that you stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.